Hey there, how are you? It's been a week and a half since I've connected, so I just wanted to shoot another random rant, as I like to do now on Facebook, which is a little departure from my normally scripted world. I felt compelled to just share this little short video with you after a conversation that I had with Marina Pearson. She has a lovely Facebook group about effortless business, and she and I did an interview today. And one of the things that came up during the interview was kind of bringing together all of my life experience and my background into what I do today. And it's relevant because I realized that I've been meeting so many more people since I've been on the road doing speaking engagements and promoting my latest book and interacting with the other authors that I represent. And I realized that some people may have either found me after watching a TED Talk, or they saw me at a conference, or they found me on social media, and they don't really know like the context of who I am or why I do what I do. And I just felt like after talking to Marina, who has known me for years and kind of has seen the flow of my life, she totally got what I was saying and where I was coming from. But one of the things about the conversation that we had was about effortlessness. And I wanted to share it with you in light of a masterclass that me and Duke Sayer are hosting next week. So next week, we're going to be talking about really aligning with purpose, like your soul's purpose for this lifetime. And the reason that all of this is sort of relevant to me now is because of context. So the context is, and if you've seen the TEDx, sorry, you kind of know this, but really from childhood up until my early 30s, I struggled with depression and anxiety. Mainly depression, though, for the majority of the years. And the way that manifested for me was just feeling like not just the low moods. I didn't have the whole problem with getting out of bed or eating too much or not eating enough. My depression manifested as just this dissatisfaction with life. And it wasn't that my life was terrible, because I had a pretty decent, upbringing and family and all of that. Mine was on a sort of soul or existential level. And what I mean by that is I felt like, even though we didn't really grow up in a religious household, I felt this connection with the soul world or spiritual world. And I felt like I didn't quite fit in. I won't say I didn't belong, but I just felt like I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in, spirit land. But I get that, okay, we're in this human body. I'm here. But I just felt like I was missing something, like I was missing that full love and soul. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't have words for it back then, so it just kind of got labeled as depression. And one of the things that happened to me, just through the course of life and childhood, is I ended up following two parallel paths, as I shared in that TEDx. I, studied science, biology, a chem major, went to traditional medical school. In my fourth year, I got certified in acupuncture for drug and alcohol detox, which kind of blew my mind open and opened me up to understanding energy and chi or ki or prana, whatever you want to call it, this life force energy, and understanding that the Chinese had a completely different way of approaching our health and vitality and even, mental well-being and spirituality, in that the Eastern philosophy was more like, you're naturally going to be healthy and happy. Your body's naturally going to heal itself and return to a baseline of well-being even after surgery or injury or accidents or setbacks. And the Chinese system was more about getting down to the root cause of illness or dis-ease and treating the cause, whereas the American sick care system was more about treating symptoms or putting a Band-Aid on things rather than getting down to the root cause. I say all of that to say that when I finally came face to face with where this existential angst and depression was coming from, I realized that it was a misalignment of my life's work with my soul's calling, or my soul's purpose, if you will. And the way that happened for me was yes, I built this incredibly successful media career. I was on TV every day, publishing books, doing all these things, running a wellness center. But I was hiding and denying my more spiritual, creative side, and feeling like I needed to fit into a box or a category that everybody wanted to put me in. Like they couldn't understand all of me. So it was just like, I can't fit you into a category or a box. And I felt the pressure of wanting to be accepted and understood. So I tried to mold myself and squeeze myself into those categories or labels, but it never fully worked. And it got to a point that what I did squeeze myself into was so constricting, it was so limiting that I was miserable. And I was getting to this point where that misery and that angst was just building up to the point of I wasn't sleeping, I was irritable, I was resentful of all that I had, even though on the outside it looked like I was hugely successful. And ultimately, when I was off on a spiritual jaunt through the Mediterranean, I had a real spiritual awakening where, I cried out to God, and, I'll let you read about that in some book later. But the bottom line of it is, when I had that sort of spiritual awakening, I had a conversation with God or souls or angels. I don't even know. It really wasn't even a conversation like in words, but I saw a flash of my entire life after going through that white light. I saw my entire life before me, and I understood all these decision points that I had made and why I was depressed at that moment. And then I saw that we as souls were like these little droplets of light coming to planet Earth, incarnating in physical form. What I got from that was that we as souls, as a little droplet of this divine pool of consciousness or ocean of consciousness, we come to this earth, and our soul may have a mission or several, but it's really up to us as divine light beings to connect to that higher purpose and then to live it out on this earth. It's not meant for us to incarnate into this little flesh suit and then become a robot or a slave to the societal norms and or family pressures and what have you. And when I had that spiritual revelation, I'm telling you, it was instantaneous. I knew that, okay, I'm ready to live my life on my own terms. And I just felt a lightness of being and a sense of clarity. Now, I also had a vision of the future, which was a little bit weird and crazy. But I can tell you now that happened in 2005, and where we are now in 2017, it all came true. So I'm like, wow. But all of that is important in the context that when I had that revelation and I understood why I was depressed and anxious, and that the remedy was living my soul's true calling, and part of that vision that I was shown was just direct confirmation of all these feelings that I had had for years, and about my creativity and about expressing myself and using light and energy and sound to heal. Yeah, that woo-woo. So I say all of that to say that now there are times when I get off stage where someone will see a program that I'm in and send me a message and say, how do I do what you do? Whether they want to be on TV or they want to publish a book or what have you, I always come back to, okay, what do you really believe is your soul's calling? What have been the dreams, the ideas, the bubbling from deep within, those things that you haven't been able to shake, even though some other people might not get it. It might not fit what your family or society is telling you is right or acceptable, but for you, it feels like, oh, I must do this. When we go back to the writings of Abraham Maslow, and he said, when he was talking about that self-realization, it's like the writer must write, or the painter must paint if he is to be at peace. And that's what I knew for myself. And that's what I know for many of my clients, that when we're not doing what we feel most deeply within, or that our soul has been urging us to do while we're on this little blue planet, then we will feel dis-ease. We will feel that lack of harmony and integration in mind, body, spirit, relationships. And to get to that sense of effortless flow, it means we need to bring together our soul's calling with whatever earthly package we have. So that means your personality, your values, your likes and dislikes, the natural talents that you have, the brilliance of you that nobody else has. When you bring that together with your soul, and then you align everything in your life and your work around creating those opportunities to express that, that's when we get naturally into a state of flow, where we lose sense of that egoic version of ourselves, the me-go, and instead we tie into, this divine consciousness. And what that means is that then we have a way to gauge whether this relationship is right, this business plan is right, this business associate is right, when we can go and really trust that everything that we're doing is lining up with who we really are. So it starts with knowing who you are. And the real way to really know who you are beyond all of the programming of society and religion and our family upbringing is to go within. And the way you bring what is in out could be through journaling. It could be keeping a journal of everything that you've ever dreamt, following your dreams, those hunches or gut leanings that tell you things, or the feelings that you get in your body. You can also take note of the times that you have felt at peace, when you felt that sense of flow and that divine rightness. And I think as we start looking at the kinds of people that naturally kind of come to my work at Make Your Mark Global, for example, the types of people who want to get published or need help with their branding and communication, they tend to be like me. They're healers, or they're coaches and consultants that have like big vision or big dreams, or they've had vast experience that now they're trying to squeeze into a squeeze page or squeeze into a brochure or a business card or a pitch, so that they can kind of create awareness, the desire to buy or hire them. And that can be really challenging if you're not fully dialed in to who you are and what you stand for. So this was this is much longer than I intended, a long way of kind of giving you the framework for why I do what I do as, a branding and media communication specialist and publisher. And because I did spend 13 plus years training in medicine and the additional training I got in addiction and trauma and acupuncture, all of that stuff is still interesting to me. I don't regret having gone down that path. I feel like all of it has informed the creative side of me, and it's just interesting. I love knowing how the body and the mind works. I love understanding the neuroscience of consciousness. In as much as one can understand it. But being able to couple my own experiences with the research and then what I'm seeing with my clients fascinates me. I totally geek out on it. So the part of me that writes books and interacts with people on a day-to-day to help them get their healing or whatever that is, that part of me is not separate from the brand strategist, publisher, media girl. It's all me. It's all coming from this desire to see you living at your fullest and your best and expressing your soul's calling in whatever way that manifests. So because of my background in neuroscience and positive psychology and health, if someone comes to me and they have a problem with depression, anxiety, or addiction or trauma or whatever stuff that I have experience in, I still will interact with them, and I will still continue to do lectures and workshops and publishing around it, because for me, it's all the same thing. It's like the revelation that I had in that spiritual experience just showed me the potential of us humans. We have this divine gift of being born in a human body with consciousness, where we can choose what we're going to do and how we're going to be and what we're going to create. And anything that blocks that is what makes me say, how do I help? How do I spring into action and help this person? And that's what ties it all together. So if you were kind of wondering, like, I don't get it. Is she a branding person, or is she writing about orgasm? Is she a doctor? What is it? It's all one. The bottom line is my commitment to you and to people on this planet, all beings on this planet, is to help alleviate suffering and to put you more into a state of thriving and that state of flow, that state of bliss, so that your soul can manifest what it came to manifest, so that the healing on this planet, the evolution of consciousness on this planet moves forward. Make sense? Too weird? Too lofty? Comment below. Let me know. I hope you get this, and I pray that you'll join us for the workshop, that masterclass that Duke and I are carrying out next week. And there'll be several more masterclasses around personal branding and marketing and living your truth and sharing your truth with the world. Much love. Bye.